Good morning, all. Welcome to this
Good morning.
Wednesday's
Good
edition.
morning, Vivek sir.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. People can hear me properly. Not an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for joining today. And today I will be talking about that CISSP, Certified Information Systems Security Professional. Okay. Last week I was talking about that network troubleshooting that is on layer 2, layer 3 level. And a lot of people has responded to that one, you know, and they liked it very much. So thank you for that. And there's so many people has asked for that PPTs and other things, and I share them also. Like if you have any issues in getting that file again, please like send a request to me. I'll just share it out. The troubleshooting is okay. It is a part of life. We always do the troubleshooting. Without a troubleshooting, we will not be able to find out the issues and other things. And we see in the methodologies and the ways which we are going to troubleshoot it, how to troubleshoot L3, L2 problems and L3 problems and other things. And many of them come back and asking with me like, can you go for security troubleshooting, like means like firewall troubleshootings and access list troubleshootings and IPS and IDS troubleshootings and all. But that will be taking a lot of time because I just need to prepare a lot of the slides and other things, and so many firewalls need to get covered for that. It's a vast subject. It's not so easy to make that slides for that, but I will be doing that. You know, and thanks for asking that. And there are so much interest has been shown on the last week's the PPTs and other things. Thanks for that. And today we will be speaking about that CISSP. CISSP is the highest certification available in the security industry. That is for sure. And there are many other certifications also has come up in the same way, like CCSK is also there. That is one of the another certification, CCSK, that is coming from different like forum or somebody who has created that. That is actually talking about more of a cloud security, like that cloud security knowledge, something like that will come. But CISSP is like overall understanding of the security implementations for your network. Either it is an on-premises or your own data centers or a cloud. Cloud itself is been included, and your VPN connections and the remote connections, side-to-side VPNs. Like entire security about that. It is not only talking about the cloud. CCSK talking about perfectly about the cloud only, but here we will be seeing on wide, worldwide, like elaborately. It will be talking about the physical security and information security, data security, database security, cloud security, and your like side-to-side VPNs, VPN security. Like each and every corner, nook and corner of the security, nook and corner of our network has been addressed here to about that security. Why security is so much important? So many certifications are there, so many firewall providers are coming up in the market in the sense because of the lot of attacks are happening nowadays only. Attacks in the sense I'm talking about that ransomware attacks, spam attacks, and email attacks, and rootkit attacks. And there will be databases, and the ransomware is the number one. Like they will be capturing all your network, and they will be start demanding about the ransom, like either money or some other bitcoins or something that they'll ask. So that is like it's actually pulling down the business to the root level, and the people cannot do each and not even single login. It is also not possible when the ransomware has been attacked. So the ransomware attack, it is a very much worse attacks which is happening through some of the spammers, hackers which are coming from Russia, South Korea, or North Korea. Like, or maybe some people from German also, like retracing and finding out that where is actually the packet is coming in for the ransomware or something. So that is a very huge topic. I may talk about the ransomware later, maybe in the part of some, but maybe in the part of like next weeks or something, I'll talk about that. But we are in a position to secure our network before there any attack is happening. It is not only the data security, means like if you just beef up your access list levels or configuring the netting on the firewalls as well as the routers, which is not going to protect you because these attacks are happening from layer 4 to layer 7. Layer 4 in the sense I'm talking about the OS layer here. In the OS layer, from the layer 4 in the sense, the transport layer, session layer, presentation layers, and the application layer. Application layer attacks, if it is happening that our normal firewalls or the access list will not be able to find out that. So they are gaining the momentum by this attacking now. That is a new ways of techniques has been find out, and they finding out the loopholes and they start attacking our systems on this. So when it is goes on like your entire company has been shut down and many people has been having heavy losses, and there is one of the hospital which was in US recently there is an attack, and they attacked there and they pull up all the patient details on this one, and they have each and every medicines whichever it is given to the peoples and all like that. That is actually the secret, because the patient details should not go out, and what is the disease they have that it should not go out, what are the medicines they're giving it should not go out. It's a very surmounting, like what I say, the security levels is, should be so big of what the hospital authorities have done, that they just paid the money whatever they asked for it. That is what. So ultimately, you have bowed down and you just given the money back to the people and they released you all these things. So then they are looking for, like putting the more budget on the security side. Budgeting is a bigger problem when it comes to the security. Budget is so huge than the profit which you are going to make it upon this. That is a problem, that because just taking the router and configuring it, it will not work. Initializing the router itself, like whether it is going through all the compliances, security compliances or has been given properly or not, and they are going through the proper way of, like the security implementations has been done in that particular OS or not. We just need to find out. Firewalls we are taking, routers we are taking that, switches we are taking from the market, operating systems which we start using that, and so many third-party softwares which we are getting installed on this one. So, and again, the individuals which are connecting with their mobile phones on the to the corporate networks. Whenever these are all going up so heavily, the traffic has been so much, it has been coming up that we could not able to properly maintain that software, maintain that traffic or something. Where it is coming up, where is the loophole is there? Android has got so many loopholes on this. People are connecting through the VPN through the Android phones, iPhones also they connect. And like all the third-party applications which we use, that the VPN client and all which we use, that requires to be properly updated with the certificates and other things, digital certificates. So that is not actually not happening properly, because of the compromisation is very much easier for the hackers to come into your network. So because of this, people are logging from the mobile. So the mobile, which mobile they are using it? Is it a Chinese mobile or a well-known company mobile or something? That makes very much sense, because Chinese mobiles are like easily crackable. Even if you're using an Android, in the sense there are a lot of loopholes in the OS of that mobile which they're using on this. So what the countermeasures which we can take on this means, we just need to specify only these mobiles need to be taken for the people, and the operating system which we need to draw the line, like this is the only operating system which we are going to use it, and the third party applications has to be properly screened, and it should be okayed by the security department to get installed, and OSs need to go with the proper patches on every day, every week, every month, whatever it may be, the cycle which is going on as per your company standards or something, that needs to be done, and the servers need to get properly implemented with all the security patches. Mail servers, importantly, mail servers need to be implemented with the security patches now, because now we are all started using the O365. Most of the companies are using, everything has been stored in the cloud only nowadays. Cloud, in the sense, again, the cloud security need to be, beefed up so heavily, like all this. So when it goes on talking about the security, in the sense, it's a budget is a bigger problem for all the people. How much I will be giving it for this budget? How much should be allocated for the budget for this financial year? So this comes a surmounting task, and when it is being asked with the security engineers, they will be giving the 3 times fold the what is the profit is making by the company or something. So this is the problem, that the financial department will always say that no, we are not going for this kind of setup or something, which we will not be able to spend on this, because we don't have the revenues to get generated on this ROI, which talk about it normally, return on investments. How much we will be spending for the security? Because once it has been getting breached, in the sense, they will come back to that line and they will start shouting on everyone. Why you are not secured? Why the things are not configured properly? What is the problem that's happening on this? How the loophole has come up? So many questions will come up. Will be people will be spending the day and night for to find out the RCA for that. Better if they would have spent some lot of money on securing your premises, securing your physical security, securing your on premises, securing your data center, cloud, and other applications as well. Whenever the people are working from the home or something, so their operating system has to be installed with the proper patches on this. When this particular cycle is being missed out due to some human error, or maybe due to the new virus attack which has been happening, which is not detected by the software which we are having on our systems, like so many answers which we can find out that, but answers are not only is going to solve all the issues. Once it has been hacked means it is screwed, means it's screwed. You lost your data actually. People hide it when it is getting hacked or something like that. People will not send the say the things to the outside or something. So they will try to hide it. All the managers will try to hide whatever it is happened on this. But happened is happened only. Last is last. Only the you and the hacker knows about that, how much information has been lost, how much the money has been lost, how much revenue has been lost on this. So budget is a bigger thing which need to be considered for when you come to this kind of a level. But CISSP will be talking about that, what are the guidelines, what are the framework which we can go for this. It will be more of a standardization which we'll talk about, compliances which we'll talk about on this. It is for common for all. It is like open. It is not only talking about Cisco or it's talk about some kind of McAfee antivirus or something. No, it's not about the vendor specific security. We will be talking about overall open security, how your operating system need to get secured and how your mobile data need to get secured, how the people are getting connected to the network and which way they need to connect to that, what all the compliances need to be implemented on this, and what all the patches need to be implemented on the server side. It's like overall general idea the CISSP will be giving you. So with that idea, we just need to implement that, like how the OSI layer is talking about the network implementation and troubleshooting side, like that. So we are in a position to find out that what all the loopholes may come up, and we just not to omit the mails which is being sent by the vendors. If you purchase some kind of software or something like that, there will be a lot of mails will be sent to you to the root address or admin address that about this particular thing is getting attacked nowadays. Firewall manufacturers will be definitely giving you that. I'm getting thousands of mails per day. So we should be having a time for the patience is required that you need to read all these things, and alerting has to be done to the departments. So there is a department sitting down. The security guys will be receiving the mails, and with a lot of troubleshooting and other things, like so much of a customer escalations are there. So still they have to read all these mails to find out this. Manager doesn't have a time. They will always do that. I don't have time to talk to people. I don't have go and see the mails and other things. So this is like the it is creating the very much of the tension for the people, like how much is being secured, what is the problem has been come up, and again it is not only your own security. When you talk about the customer security, in the sense you just need to implement everything over there. When you are trying to give a solution to the people, in the sense first job you should be talking about the security level. What is the security has been implemented on your network, that we need to identify that. We have to talk to the customers about their own network, study the network. We just need to study the network first of all before taking the project to maintain it, like, or you are going to implement the project or something. Just need to pinpoint all the security concerns about yourself from your side to the customer, so that the customer will be thinking of that whether they allowed to go for it or something, because they will also think about the budget only. Everybody is a budget only because of now corona period. Many businesses are getting closed out. They don't have money to creating the revenue or something. Is not possible. So they are thinking of whether I should go for this. Can I go for a compromisation on this one? Can I reduce the amount on this one? Should I use some other third-party software which is a free, which is some of the free version is available, or I can go for with some kind of 14 days evaluation period or something. Is that, can I use that slide? So those are all the loopholes which is coming up to that. It has been completely open your network. So anything can be coming through that one. So what we need to do when customer is coming up with that informations, like evaluation software is try to do that. So evaluation software, we just need to go and find out that actually what is happening with that, and whether this particular software has been completely coming out with our own security compliances or something, whether it has been implemented properly. So these are all many things which we need to think about that before going for any solutions as well. So in this slides, I am going to talk about something on a security side. I will not talk about pinpoint any kind of box or vendor information or something. Overall security things, like we will talk about that, and we'll talk about something on a budgetary. Because once you come to the CISSP level, in the sense you are a senior, definitely 8+ years or 10+years who are in the industry, security industry, networking industry, or the people who are in a sysadmins, and the people who are managers which they are already been promoted. Those people are intent to do this kind of the certification, because it requires a wide variety of knowledge about the complete many of the domains which is available currently. It's not only the networking or system admin or databasing or cloud or on premises or VMware or something. Everything you should be knowing. When you come to that level, 10 years, if you cross it, in the sense, people will be expecting that you'll be having many kind of, many domains of information, so you should be having that. So that is what been expected from you. So only those people can understand what is the CASSP is suggesting, and it has been teaching you. So CASSP is a level where the people will be having a broader understanding about the multiple products, multiple vendors, multiple vendor environment they worked on, and multiple implementations they have done on the project wise they are working on, along with the financial peoples, like a project management peoples and other things, because we need to work out with the budgetary things also, and we just need to know about all the security standards as well. It's maybe like a complete theory, but we just need to understand that what are the things has been. We just need to have some kind of a checklist before going to the customer, whether the people are compliant. Compliance is been coming up with it along with the checklist which we are applying to that. So it is risky business. Definitely, it is risky. Security is always risky. Who said no? But risky in the sense, when you are taking the risk only, you will start learning about that, and you will be growing in your level. Definitely. So that taking a risk, and taking a risk in the sense, without knowing anything like that, whatever you are doing, that is a risk. But actually, with knowing everything, and again, if you're going for a security implementation, it's also a risk. So both the way, there is a risky things are there in this. So CISSP suggests about that. What should be the security compliance has to be there for your network, either it is in cloud or on premises or your data centers or your remote sites or your customer sites or the VPNs which you are going to create on this. Like, it's about talking about the perimeter security, physical security, data security, and the persons, like personal security. Like the person has to come with the proper uh, the swipe card or something like that. You just need to enter into the company, and unwanted openings need to be blocked. Only the authorized personnel has to be get into that kind of a data center environments, and the people has to be entering into the server rack room. Only the IT engineers should be entering, not the other normal people. Maybe they are working as a computer professional, they are working on a software development or something. They should not be allowed into the IT, the rack room or something. It is not allowed. It is not required for them to get into that. So like this is called as a physical security. It's talk about the personal security, physical security, and the security personals who are actually maintaining the physical security for entire office. They need to be get trained on this one. Like so many aspects which has been discussed, and it has been given a compliance towards a particular domains has been discussed on this particular, the CISSP. CISSP is a very high level. When you have cleared the CISSP, in the sense, they will be expecting you in the interview that you have a broader understanding about that every other security point of view in your network, and you are able to design the security projects for a company. That level is being expected. It means you are good in 6 years, 7 years in a Palo Alto. You're working on only on the firewall, and you just little know about that security checkpoint or Fortinet or FortiGate gateways or something. That is not enough. You just need to know about the operating systems, databases, cloud, physical security, data center securities, and the every other security part of it, every other network part of it. You should be knowing that. Then only you are being expected to be appearing in this for the CISSP exam. CISSP exam is being conducted by the ISC Square. That is the information I'll give you on the last one. ISC Square is a forum which will be conducting this CISSP. There are other certifications also available under this forum, ISC2. We will talk about this. Cloud has got something particular, like security point of view also we can have. We have some a different one for a cloud also, like it is being there. So like many other certifications are also available, but CISSP is in the top, like. So how do you pursue that? How do you get into this journey? The security is actually a journey. It is not a destination. Journey in the sense you will be coming across so many things. You never been find out the destination for that, because each and every things has been getting attacked, and there is a new software is coming up, new ransomware kits are coming up, root kits are coming up. We just need to find out that a lot of loopholes which has been created by the software guys that need to be find out that it's an ongoing journey until your career is ending. That you will be keep on fine tuning your security on your network. That is what been discussed in this CASSP level. So CSSP has got so many certifications available. It is not only that getting certified means you will be knowing everything. No, it is a bookish knowledge which you have. When you are having that by the knowledge of that, how you are implementing that security solution, and time to time how you are taking the immediate steps to solve the other problems as well. Whenever it has been a security incident is occurring, how do you give the solution for that? What are the changes we are going to perform it, and how the problem has been coming? If it is a continuous same equipment, same incident is been coming up with the same kind of attack, in the sense, how do you solve it out? How do you find out the root cause analysis for that? How do you find the root cause analysis report for this? So many things, so many aspects we just need to discuss on this one. So this is what I'm going to discuss it today. And the CISSP is not for the juniors. Definitely it is not for the juniors. People who are 1 or 2 years experience in the industry, they try to pursue for CISSP means they don't know anything at all. We are not, and nobody will be like encourage you to do the CISSP level. You just need to work on in the industry for at least 5 years, 6 years. Security you should be working on, cloud you should be working on, like data centers you should be working on that. So then only you will be coming across it how many domains are there in the network, and how many domains has been implemented successfully by the domain engineers as well. How the cross domain function is happening means, like when you try to log into a, you'll be logging into a Windows AD or LDAP server or something. How your login is happening, how you are getting the access to the multiple devices, but by just doing one login, that is a single sign-on, it has been called. So from that point itself, the security has been started. So what are the other boxes if you'd like to access it? When you are accessing it, maybe throwing an error that you are not authorized for this. Then you will get back to your proper channel, like through your manager, you'll be accessing for requesting for the access to that particular box or something. Then you will come to know, oh, this is the way that we will be going for a processing like that. So like each and everything has got its own the way, but I would like you to know about that. The things need to be understood by doing something. You need to be experience of things, not only just studying or just listening some videos or attending some seminars like this, which doesn't give you the broader understanding of the network and security and other things, which has to be performed by you, and go through that all the kind of challenges in your network side. Then you will be gaining the knowledge which nobody can teach you on the phone, on the lectures, or on the like it is a personal experience which comes to you on the network side, in the sense you'll be having a lot of confidence which will be building on this. On top of it, you'll be going for certain certification sessions, you will be reaching the top. Reaching the top in the sense you will not be going just sitting over there. There will be a lot of escalations will come to you. You need to solve it, and a lot of projects, new projects will be simultaneously. Multiple projects will be running on this. You need to be putting your all efforts on all the projects as well. So CISSP level is a very high level. So let's go back to the slides. We will go by one slides. 1 second. Let me maximize this. Something is not going. Okay, now it's okay. So let me make it a 5. CISSP. Okay, we often hear how important security is, but we don't always understand why. Security is important because it helps to ensure that an organization is able to continue to exist and operate in spite of any attempts to steal its data or compromise or physical or logical elements. Security should be viewed as an element of business management rather than IT concern. It is not only IT concern; it is complete business. That is what been discussed here. Security is the business management tool that ensures the reliable and protected operation of IT and IS. IS means information security. Security exists to the support of the objectives, mission, and goals of the organization. Somebody is pinging. Who's that? Let me see that. Is CISSP equivalent to CISM? There are many certifications out there. I will be talking about that later. Okay. In the due coming up slides, we will be seeing that more. No worries. So this is one of the initial things which we seen that. And the next one, security is a journey, not a finish line. See that? That's what I was telling you. It's a journey. It's ongoing. It's not a finishing line. It is not a process that will ever be concluded. It will never be concluded. It is not possible to fully secure something because security issues are always changing. Defenses that were sufficient yesterday may not be sufficient tomorrow. This is a golden line. We just need to be understand, because new attacks which are happening day to day, which our software, our hardware, or our security standards, which will not be enough for to contain that. As new vulnerabilities are discovered, as new means of attack are crafted and exploits are built, we have to respond by reassessing our security infrastructure and responding appropriately. Security should be cost effective Organizations do not have infinite budgets and thus must allocate their funds appropriately. You should select security controls that provide greatest protection for the lowest cost. This is a challenging. How do you get it at the best things? Like if you like to buy a Rolls Royce of their own standards, you will not get it by the buying an ambassador for that. Anyway, that is it's a project manager setup. Like it's a headache for them. Like okay, next, understand and apply the security concept. This has been implemented. This has been discussed even in certified ethical hacking also. All the security certifications also. Either if you go for a Palo Alto, Checkpoint, or FortiGate, or any other firewalls when you try to study that. Nowadays it is a WAF also come, web application firewall. That is a 4 to 7, layer 4 to layer 7. Cisco FTD will be doing that. FIASM will be doing that to 4 to 7. WAF it is called this. So there also we've been discussing about these 3 points. That is a triad: confidentiality, integrity, and availability are typically viewed as the primary goals and objectives of any security infrastructure. 1 second, I'll just come back. 2 minutes. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. So confidentiality, integrity, and availability are typically viewed as the primary goals and objectives of any security infrastructure. This is a triad. It's been taken like that. So it's a, it's a triad like this. So this is what is actually is talking. Security controls are typically evaluated and how well they address these three core information security tenant. Vulnerabilities and risks also evaluated based on threat they pose against one or more CAA triad principles. We will see this triad in just coming up slides. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. We'll see by one on this. So before to do any kind of a certifications on security, you should be knowing about this one. Okay, the next one, confidentiality. Confidentiality is the concept of the measures used to ensure the protection of the secrecy of data, objects, or resources. Sensitivity, these are all the main points which has been discussed in the confidentiality. Sensitivity, it refers to the quality of information which could cause harm or damage if disclosed. Discretion, it is an act of decision where operator can influence or control the disclosure in order to minimize the harm or damage. Criticality, the level to which information is mission critical is its measure of criticality. Concealment, you see that the words, it is the act of hiding or preventing the disclosure. Often concealment is viewed as means of cover, obfuscation, or distraction. Secrecy, it is the act of keeping something secret or preventing the disclosure of information. Privacy, this is a privacy. When you come to the internet, there is no privacy at all. It refers to the keeping information confidential that is personally identifiable or that might cause harm, embarrassment, or disgrace to someone if revealed. Seclusion, it involves storing something in an out of the way location, likely with strict access controls. Isolation, it is the act of keeping something separated from others. So these are all the main points which are coming under the confidentiality. Confidentiality is a concept of measures used to ensure the protection of the secrecy of data, objects, or resources. Now we will see the next triad point. What is that? Integrity. Integrity is the concept of protecting the reliability and correctness of data when it has been transferred over the network. If there is anybody, something, man in the middle attack is happen in the sense, if he's sending the 10 bytes, if he's receiving 20 bytes, there is a problem. Somebody is doing something in that. Sometimes, many times like that, spurious signals will also cause some more, bytes which are getting received. We need to identify that, we need to isolate this. Okay. Integrity can be examined from these three perspectives: preventing unauthorized subjects from making modifications, preventing authorized subjects from making unauthorized modifications, such as mistakes. Third, maintaining the internal and external consistency of objects so that their data is a correct and a true reflection of the real world, and any relationship with any other object is valid, consistent, and verified. That is what. There's a lot of security breaches happening within the company only, not from the other side. Because in the people who are sitting inside, they know every other things. Legally, they know the username and password for that. So they go unscrew the complete network. So that is what it given as a mistakes here. Okay, concepts, conditions, and aspects of the integrity, including the following: accuracy, being accurate, being correct and precise; truthfulness, being true reflection of the reality; validity, being factually or logically sound; accountability, being responsible or obligated for actions and results; responsibility, being in charge or having control over something or someone; completeness, having all necessary components or parts; comprehensiveness, being complete in scope, full inclusion of all needed elements. So when you talk about that integrity, we just need to think about all these things. Do we have, personally, do we have? That's we need to understand first. If you ask me that, I will not be having like accountability, though it will never be there with me. Okay, I'll just say that it is not my baby. You just need to take that. I'll just throw it out like that. Like accuracy, it's never been there. We try to close the case as soon as possible. Truthfulness, we will be always lying to the customer. Okay, so okay, this is about when you talk about the theoretical concept in the sense, we just need to have all these things. Okay, so I hope you will also follow the same thing, not like me, but what is being discussed on this integrity level. Okay, last triad in the one which we'll be seeing about that availability. Availability in the sense, every time 24/7, the equipment should be available. Every time 24/7, the link should be available. Are we having it due to this rainy season or tsunami hitting or due to the heavy heat or something like that? Is having a fire or something incidents is happening on that? So availability will be in a question. So availability means authorized subjects are granted timely and uninterrupted access to the objects. It never happens. Availability depends on both integrity and confidentiality. Without integrity and confidentiality, availability cannot be maintained. Many availability breaches are caused by human error, oversight, or ineptitude. They also can occur because of oversight in a security policy or a misconfigured security control. Concepts and conditions. Usability, the state of being easy to use or learn, being able to be understood and controlled by an object. That is a usability. I don't understand what they say. The state of being easy to use. Okay, it should be familiar to use. Like okay, it should be easy to or learning, being able to be understood and controlled by an object, by a subject, like that. That is called as an availability. Usability has to be there. It should be ease of like access, something like accessibility, the assurance that the widest range of subjects can interact with the resource regardless of their capabilities or limitations. Timeliness, being prompt on time with a reasonable time frame or providing low latency response. So these are all coming under the availability. We see in confidentiality, then we see in the integrity, now we see in the availability, like this. So these are all the three things which we need to have in any network. It's not only about the security implementations. Whatever the network you are designing it, if it is not available to the people who are when they try to log in at midnight, night or 2 o'clock or something, then what is the use of it? We are offering the 24/7 solutions. Many of our ISPs will never follow that. I have a lot of fiber breakdown is happening in my place in Bangalore because of the heavy rain is happening on this. So they offer like we will be giving 99.99% uptime. Never, nobody has that. Even 80%, 70% is also coming is also nice because the people are having that in my building. Some people are saying that 5 days it has been down. Nobody's answering that. So that is nothing but that practical implementations has to be available for that. At least 90% if they're maintaining, it's okay, but it's not possible. Okay, the next we'll be seeing about understanding the security capabilities of the information systems. Security capabilities of information systems include memory protection, virtualization, trusted platform module, encryption and decryption, interfaces and fault tolerance. See, CASSP is talking about so many other subjects as well. It talks about the risk and compliance. It talks about the security standards implementations. It talks about the physical security, and it will be talking about the databases and the containers and the cloud and other things. I could not able to, like explaining all these things on this particular half an hour, 1 hour session or something. But when you come for a session, we will be, We'll be seeing all these things. What is related to the IT, information systems or IT, which we are talking about, the only that is I'm discussing here in the CISSP. But CISSP has got 21 chapters are there. In the 21 chapters, we just need to cover it up all the things. When it come for a session, I'll be taking all the 21 chapters. It's not a problem. But I'm discussing only now what is related to the IT. So memory protection, virtualization, trusted platform module, encryption, decryption, interfaces, and fault tolerance. So without understanding of the security capabilities and information systems, it is impossible to evaluate them, nor is it possible to implement them properly. So we will see one by one. Memory protection. Memory protection is a core security component that must be designed and implemented into an operating system. It must be enforced regardless of the programs executing in the system. Otherwise, instability, violation, or integrity, denial of service, and disclosure are likely results. See what all the things will come up. There will be instability, violation of the integrity, denial of service attacks will happen, disclosure are likely results. Memory protection, memory leaking. The people will be saying that a lot of problems like memory leaking. Memory leaking is nothing but like it could not able to properly manage the things. Means the memory is not being properly allocated by the like memory. It's not actually properly allocated by the software components inside. Then if it is leaking in the sense, other software component can read the component which is in the another thing as well. That's a problem. So memory protection is used to prevent an active process from interacting with an area of memory that was not specifically assigned or allocated it. That is what preventing that. Next, virtualization. Virtualization technology is used to host one or more operating systems within the memory of single host computer or to run applications that are not compatible with the host OS. Virtualization can be a tool to isolate OSs, test the suspicious software, or implement other security protections. Yeah, this is also a good one. Virtualizations. We do normally, if it is a new software is coming up, or new boxes need to get tried out, in the sense we will do it with the virtualizations. We'll create the virtual machines, VMs will create, and we'll try out and test it out everything. Then we will be taking into the production or something. That is a procedure which is goes on SOP, normally say standard operating procedure. Encryption and decryption. Encryption is a process of converting the plain text to the cipher text, whereas decryption reverses the process. Symmetric and asymmetric methods of encryption and decryption can be used to support wide range of security solutions to protect confidentiality and integrity. Whatever the password which you are typing on, even in Windows 10 also, it will be showing a dot dot or star star. When you are typing on your ATM machine, it will be showing only the stars. When you're typing the on HDFC or any kind of a net banking app, when you're going for it, it will be showing only the dots or stars, similar than, because eavesdropping should not be done, shoulder surfing should not be done. So many things are there in the security aspects. So that is an encryption decryption which is happening on the password side. Even the entire network can be secured. Even the entire VPN can be secured with an IPsec. That is a encryption. Trusted platform module. Specification for a crypto processor chip on the main board. General name or implementation of the specification. TPM can be used to implement a broad range of cryptography-based security protection mechanisms. TPM chip is often used to store and process cryptographic keys for a hardware-supported or OS implemented local storage device encryption system. TPM is an example of hardware security model, HSM. It is a crypto processor used to manage and store digital encryption keys, accelerate crypto operations, support faster digital signatures, improve the authentication. And HSM chip can be in a motherboard or an external peripheral or a network attached device or an extension card which is inserted into the device, such as router, firewall, and rack mounted server blade. HSMs include tamper protection to prevent the misuse even if the attacker gains a physical access. So this is one of the biggest thing. Next, interfaces. Constrained or restricted interface is implemented within an application to restrict what users can do or see based on their privileges. Users with the full privileges have access to all capabilities of the application. Users with restricted privileges have limited access. Like that, in Linux systems, we'll be giving the user level access or the admin root level access. Root level access in the sense he can do anything he wants. We will be giving only the root level access. We'll be giving the admin level access for a certain application, certain platform only inside the Linux machines. Or even if we go to the Cisco router or something, we are having the two kind of privileges like that. One is a user exec mode, another one is a privileged exec mode. User exec mode, you can run only the commands which are non-impacting commands, like a show IP route, show interfaces, something like that only you can see that. When you try to configure it, the router, when you try to modify that, impacting the router, which is the configuration as well. So you require the privileged exec. In the sense, you just need to have some enable, and enable will be secured with the password. Like there are so many examples of that. That is what been concerned about the interfaces over here. Applications constrain the interface using different methods. A common method is to hide the capability if the user doesn't have permission to use it. Commands might be available to administrators via a menu or by right clicking them. But if a regular user don't have permission, the command does not appear at all. Other times the command is shown but is dimmed or disabled. The regular user can see but will not be able to use it. That's how we are restricting the access to that. That is an interface. Fault tolerance. Fault tolerance is the ability of a system to suffer a fault but continue to operate. Fault tolerance is achieved by adding redundant components such as additional disks within a redundant array of inexpensive disks, that is a RAID array, or additional servers within a failover clustered configurations. Failover in the sense we normally do it with the firewalls failovers also. We have active passive or active active. Routers also we have two processes like that is called as like active processor and standby processors like that. We have implementations of the entire router, the standby failover and other thing. Like we go with the first hop redundancy protocols. And when you talk about that layer 2 environment and the switching, we have the spanning tree for that. When things fails, it goes to the another link. One of the router, one of the switch is failing as a root switch. Another switch will become as a root and it will start catering the entire, it will create the topology for its own. Like so everywhere we will be having kind of this, fault tolerance will be there. So in the sense like that, I can just give a small example. Our all laptops are having the battery, and as well as we can connect to the power also. When you connect to the power, battery will be offline. When you are not connecting the power, in the sense, battery will be in online. Just like so, that is nothing but a failovers like that I can just take. And fault tolerance is an essential element of the security design. It is also considered part of avoiding the single points of failure and the implementation of the redundancy. That's so we can talk about something which we talk about the three things, that is nothing but a confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is a triad. Then we talk about some kind of security implementations on the network, on the IT systems. We seen that, and we'll have to think about the endpoint security. This is also IT related only. I'm talking about that. Endpoint security is nothing but emails, download and upload policies, access controls, restricted user interface, file encryptions, screensaver timeout. This is very important. Privileged access, network segments, disk access and backups, security awareness, disaster recovery, custom software security. Endpoint security is a concept of each individual device must maintain local security, whether or not its network or telecommunication channels also provide security. Sometimes this is expressed as the end device responsible for its own security. However, a clear perspective is that any weakness in a network, whether on the border or a server or on a client, presents a risk to all elements within the organization. So endpoint security is very important. And at the end of it, we are going to talk about the endpoint security only. Whatever you are protecting your network so beautifully, all your servers, routers, and firewalls and everything. But when the user is using the non-authorized application or something in his laptop and is connecting to our corporate network, in the sense everything is collapsed. That is what we just need to implement that. Email must be screened so that it cannot be a vector for infection by malicious software. Email should also be the subject to policies that govern appropriate use and limit the potential liability. Next, download upload policies must be created so that incoming and outgoing data is screened and suspect the material is blocked. Systems must be subject to robust access controls, which may include multi-factor authentication and or biometrics to restrict the access to end user devices and to prevent unauthorized access to the servers and services. Yeah, when we are getting into the nowadays, the what is that attendance which has been happening through the biometric only. We just need to put our thumb in that machine. It will be accessing that and it will be saying that what time you entered. Like that, we can have all the nowadays all the laptops also having the thumb impressions and other things, which will be scanning and it will giving you the login back to the system or something. That's what they're talking about. Restricted user interface mechanisms and the database management system should be installed. and their use required to restrict the and manage the access to the critical information so that the users have minimal but necessary access to the sensitive resources. Restricted user interface. File encryption may be appropriate for files and data stored on a client machines. Indeed, drive level encryption is a good idea for laptops and other mobile computing gear that is subject to loss of theft outside an organization premises. So we are using that BitLocker is there in Windows and all. We have a BitLocker in security level locking is possible in Linux boxes also. That we can do it. That is a disk, with disk locking. Enforce security saver after a timeout. This will hide any confidential materials behind a screensaver, which should be then require a valid login to regain access to the desktop application storage devices and so forth. So this is actually, it will be implemented through the group policy. Normally we do with that. In Windows, there is a group policy concept is there. There will be giving the screensaver timeout, another thing will give that. But this we are talking about the endpoint security. Next, privilege levels. It is essential to separate and isolate processes that run in user and supervisory modes so that unauthorized and unwanted access to high privilege processes and capabilities is prevented. Protection domains or network segments should be created so that compromise of a client won't automatically compromise the entire network. Disks and other sensitive materials should be clearly labeled as to their security classification or organizational sensitivity. Procedural processes and the system control should be combining to help the protect sensitive materials from unwanted or unauthorized access. Files on desktop machines as well as the files on servers should be backed up ideally using some form of centralized backup utility that works with the client software, client agent software to identify and capture the files from client stored in a secure backup storage archive. Desktop users need a regular security awareness, training to maintain proper security awareness. And they also need to be notified about potential threats and instructed how to deal with them appropriately. Security awareness need to be conducted every week, not every week, at least in the month or something like that. They just need to give some kind of a briefing, some seminars, some kind of online like the trainings need to be conducted, or you can just give the link to the people that they need to go through this and they have to go through some kind of questionnaire, like how much they understood from that security implementation or something. This has to be done individually. All the managers must be sending it. I am sending it to my people like that. And desktop computers and their storage media required protection against environmental hazards, temperature, humidity, power loss and fluctuation, and so forth. Desktop computers should be included in your organization's disaster recovery and business continuity planning because they are potentially as important as, if not more important than, other systems and services in getting users back to the work on the other systems. Laptop means which we will be keeping it like all these things, because desktop means it is going to be staying in your own corporate premises only, which will not be taking it out. But those also getting should be packed up properly. It should be putting under the DR, disaster recovery plans. Developers of custom software built in and for a distributed environment also need to take security into the account, including using formal methods for development and deployment, such as code libraries, change control mechanisms, configuration management, and patch and update deployment. So these are all which we talk about the endpoint security. Emails, download upload policies, access controls, restricted user interface. It comes under the timing also like that. The people has to log in from certain time to time only. We will be able to restrict it in the user firewalls like that. Users can be given only the particular time to log in. Means if this is like a corona period, like if they would like to maintain the shift level in the sense, we can just say that the corporate access can be given only from 8 to 8, something like that. And screensaver, time mode, privilege access, network segments, these are all we just seen that this is an endpoint security. Okay, we just seen overall things like triad of the confidentiality, integrity, and security. Another things as a methodology which we seen that how to secure that IT and IS and other things. Endpoint security which we seen. Now we will be seeing about ISC Square, information security certifications. What all the certifications are given by ISC Square Forum, ISS Square, like a chapters they call it as like. And how do you how do you go for this exam? How do you how do you register for these exams? What is the fees for that? What is the fee structures? And how long this particular certificate has been valid for you? 2 years, 3 years, Like within how many years you just need to go for an upgradation of your skills, or what should be the next level of the certification? Means once you've done some lower level, and what should be the next level of certification which we can go for, and you can claim your kind of a badges which are given by the ISC2. And how do you climb it out in your own company that you are a security certified person, and you've been authorized to do some security auditing and other things. Auditing is a bigger thing. Security auditors certifications also available under the CASSP or something like that. So we will be seeing about the certifications now. CASSP on the top, that is a high level. And the next one is SSCP, that is Systems Security Certified Practitioner. CCSP, Certified Cloud Security Professional. CAP, that is Certified Authorization Professional. And CSSLP, Certified Secure Software Lifecycle Professional. This for a software case. CISPP, Healthcare Information Security. CISSP, ISSAP. There are three things other: ISSAP, ISSEP, ISSMP. Information Security Architecture Professional, Information Security Engineering Professional, Information Security Management Professional, Associate of ISC. This is a very lower level of things. So this many certifications are offered by ISC too. You should be able to choose according to your experience and the level of understanding on your network and security implementations like that. We will be going for this kind of a security. I'll be just briefing you about all the certifications on the next coming slides. A little bit, not much. There is a heavy site is there. So these are all the like pictures of it. Like you can see, ISSP can be taken by the leadership and operation people. Operation manager, who is a managers or operation managers or security manager or a NOC manager or SOC manager. Somebody people can be going for this. Security administration, the people who are doing their admin job, like a SOC guys, L2 guys, L3 guys can go for this. Cloud security, when your company is going for a cloud level security implementations, in the sense you can take this cloud security certification exam. Securing the software, this can be taken by the software professionals, software managers and other people. Healthcare security, this is about the domain level certification you can take. Authorizations, security architecture, security engineering, security management, so many things are there. But for the first, I'll be talking more about a CISSP over here. Okay, and we will go to the next one. Yeah, somebody's pinging. What is the difference between CISSP and other CISSP variants? That is what been implemented, no? It's a CISSP leadership in operations. That is overall general. When you like to go for a security architecture, pinpointing like domain levels experience, you're looking for an architecture side, you'll take ISSAP. And you would like to go for security engineering, you will take ISSEP. Security management, you will be going for CISSP, like that. We'll see the next one. CISSP, the summary, most esteemed cybersecurity certification in the world. CISSP recognizes information security leaders who understand cybersecurity strategy as well as hands-on implementations. Oh, sorry. It shows you have the knowledge and experience to design, develop, manage, and the overall security posture of an organization. Are you ready to prove you are an expert? That is the level of CISSP. Ideal for experienced, high achieving information security professionals. This is for ideal. Why pursue it? Why you want to go for this? Career game changer. CISSP can be catapult your career, leading into some credibility, better opportunities, higher pay, and more. Ongoing growth and learning. You will expand your skills, knowledge, network of experts so that you can stay on the forefront of your craft. Mighty challenge. You love to push yourself. You will feel complete exhilaration when you pass our rigorous exam and join this elite community. Everyone talk about that. Okay. Experience. What is the experience required for to go for the certification? Candidates must have minimum 5 years of cumulative paid full-time work experience in 2 or more 8 domains of CISSP, common body of knowledge, CBK. 1 or more year experience exemption is granted for education. Something like that. When you have done some kind of a security certifications or something like a CompTIA, Security Plus, or CCNA, or CCNP level, or any kind of like firewall certifications. So you can have an exemption of 1 year. Means 4 years of security implementations. If you have, you can go for a CISSP level general. And let's see the next one. SSCP. Global IT Security Certification (SSCP) recognizes your hands-on technical abilities and practical experience. It shows how you have the skills to implement, monitor, and administer IT infrastructure using information security policies and procedures, ensuring the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data. Ideal for practitioners in operational IT roles or information security. Why pursuing it? You will get a respect, you will get new career opportunities, and you will be growing and learning like that. SSCP certification validates your knowledge and experience. It is a way to take more seriously. SSCPs have voice in decisions, and their teams value their advice. New career opportunities, SSCP can spark career growth. It can lead to higher pay, promotions, more complex work, exciting challenges, project lead roles, and even better jobs. So this is the next level of I can just talk about. Growth and learning, SSCP not only proves your knowledge, it helps you develop new skills you can instantly apply in your day-to-day work. And you will stay up to date in the emerging security threats. Experience required. What is the experience required to take this SSCP exam? Candidates minimum have 1 year of cumulative work experience in one or more 7 domains of SSCP common body of language. 1 year experience waiver will be granted a candidate who received a degree, bachelor's or master's in cybersecurity program. Next, CCSP, Certified Cloud Security Professional. This premier cloud security certification, this is one of the hottest certification on the market today. CCSP recognizes IT and information security leaders who have the knowledge and competency to apply best practices to cloud security architecture. Architecture, design, operation, and security service orchestrations. It shows you are in the forefront of the cloud security. Okay, ideal for experienced, highly achieving IT information professional like that. What is the experience required? Candidates must have minimum 5 years of cumulative paid full-time work like that in information technology. Then 3 years must be in cloud. In the information security, 1 year must be in part of 6 domains of the CCSP. That is a body of knowledge is there. Earning Cloud Security Alliance CACSK can be substituted for 1 year experience. See, CCSK has come up here. And earning ISC squares CISSP credential can be substituted as the entire CCSP experience requirement like that. It is a professional cloud security professional. Then CAP, this is Certified Authorization Professional, an information security certification aligning with the risk management framework that is called as RMF, and as CAP recognizes your knowledge, skills and abilities to authorize and maintain the information systems within the RMF. It proves you know how to formalize processes to access the risk and establish security implementations or documentations like that. Ideal for US federal government such as US Department, State of Department Defense, military people, civilian roles such as the federal contractors, local governments, private sector organizations. Experience required. Custom candidates must be having minimum 2 years of experience on the page or full time like that. You just need to have that. This is a CAP is given for people who would like to come into that and would like to operate something like that, would like to take some kind of a security contract inside the company. Military professionals, everyone can take. And there are some facts are there about this, which I need to discuss it. Other certifications, you can get it up from their, the site or something. I'll give you the link for that. You can go and get all the information. What is the facts? There are many kind of rumors, and there are a lot of, spoofing certificates are given, like which they will be offering from the online that it is equivalent to CASSP. Don't go for it. Everything is a fake nowadays because it is a completely online things are going on. There is a lot of cheating is also going on online. Not all ISC Square certifications or training are endorsed by the ISC Square. This is what you just need to take the training from the ISC partner like that. These are all the logos. You just need to go for it. Then only you can claim it out that you've been trained by the trained professionally as well. Fact number 2: only ISC Square and official ISC Square training partners can make exam vouchers available for the purchase. Nowadays, I just see that there are a lot of proxy requests are coming up like that. I will be clearing your exams. We will be able to clear it 100% for you. And they will be saying that I will be giving you the reduction price. Means they will be just saying that I have the vouchers available with me. Your price for the exam price can be reduced. Something like that. Please don't go for it. They will be cheated. And there are many other certifications are getting revoked nowadays. I just got the news about that. You may be clearing the exams, but after 2 days that you are counterfeited, that something like that, the information comes to that, and the person's certificate has been getting revoked. Please don't go for it. And fact number 3, training, no training partner provider can teach the exam or guarantee to pass the exam like that. No 100% passing is not possible. And they will be saying that I will be teaching you 100% you will get passed. No, not possible. Why they saying? Because of without having a proper experience on the industry and without having the knowledge of it, you will not be able to clear the exam. Even if you clear it out, you may be like just questioning, they're answering the questions, and you will not be having the proper knowledge to attend the interviews or something on the CASSP level. Then other facts. Official training teaches only the most current content. Okay, this is also an important. ISC Square has got CASSP, maybe 4-year old things people must be teaching that, but you need to take the latest one. Then only you can clear the latest exam. Because when you go for an exam, the version will be implemented, version will be mentioned automatically. Through that versions only you can able to write the exam. Latest version only the exams are conducted. Fact number 5, authorized instructors provide top quality training. You need to go with the people who are authorized trainers like that. Unfortunately, many people are not compliant with that. Fact number 6, passing the exam is just the start only. I should say add that word only. Only in the sense what? Only means passing the exam is not you got all the knowledge with whatever it is required for CSSP level or something. No, you just need to go through the journey. That's what has been said. Like journey, CSSP is a journey, security is a journey. You just need to go for always upgrading your things. You need to patch up your own certificates. You just need to gain your badges as well. You need to clear that certification in the current period of time on this. When it is getting expired or something after 2 years, 3 years or something, you just need to recertify yourself. Then only you will be saying that. And again, you will have to involve yourself in the security projects implementations. Then only you can just say that you are a security professional. Passing an exam itself doesn't give you the hat. Like. Okay, next. CSSP certification data from 2020 the cybersecurity workforce study shows 47% of the employers require their security staff to hold vendor neutral cybersecurity certification, that is certified information system security professional, is most commonly held. This is what 2020, this is the latest report which we received. We need to have that vendor neutral, that is more important. Vendor neutral means CompTIA is giving the security certifications, that is CompTIA only possible. They will talk about CompTIA, the things of the equipments only they will be talking about. They don't talk about vendor neutral things. According to the study, employers value certified cybersecurity professionals for a number of qualities, from having increased confidence in strategies and practices to the communicating and demonstrating that confidence and competence to the customers. Other benefits of certification cited by the employers include reducing the impact of security breach, knowing that the technology and best practices are up to date, enhancing the organization reputation within its own given industry. In addition to the security professionals with the cybersecurity certifications can boost their salaries 27% on the average. This is actually well proven. Definitely, I just seen that people are asking like when you are CCISSP in the sense you can just boldly you can ask like I just need to have 30% hike, 40% hike like that. You just have it. That depends on that how much you demanding and you are threatening your HR to get that more hike. That is in your hand. Okay, next. Uh, Topical domains. We need to understand that. What the CASSP is going to talk about the domains. Domains in the sense chapters are different, domains are different. Domains under one domain there will be multiple chapters will be coming up. That is a topical domains, like 8 domains we will be discussing about that in the CASSP material. One is security and risk management. Second one is asset security. Third domain is security architecture and engineering. Fourth domain, communication and network security. Fifth domain, identify and access management. Then IAM we call it as. Domain number 6, security assessment and testing. Domain number 7, security operations. Domain number 8, development security, software development security. So all the domains, you just need to have the knowledge about that, clear cut knowledge on this, exam or in like experienced on the working knowledge on this. People who are not from the software industry, they may not be able to have this one. That's okay, that we can learn it. because he will be coming back to that. We're talking to the security software engineers. He'll be understanding that how the security has been implemented on this. The rest all the chapters we just need to do that. As a network engineer, as a security engineer, whoever it has been doing it, as a manager also, you just need to go through this all. So these all top level domains which we need to complete that. In this, under these domains, multiple chapters will be discussed according to the according to the chapters which we're going to discuss on this. These 8 domains provide vendor independent overview of common security framework. The framework is a basis of discussion on security practices that can be supported in all types of organizations worldwide. We have to talk about that. We are all working in IT enabled services, cloud platforms, container. We are installing a lot of containers on the cloud platforms, virtual machines we are installing and working on, a lot of networks and troubleshootings which we are doing that, security implementations which we are handling on this, database engineers are there. So many people are all walks of domains of the people like software engineers, software programmers, software analysts, database engineers, database analysts. I like nowadays the data analyst also has come. Data software like AI and ML has come up, artificial intelligence, machine learning. These are also coming under the security so software things on this. And the network security it is coming up, firewall engineers, network engineers, and the system admin people, Linux and Windows admin people, database admin peoples, like software admin peoples are there. So many people, whoever has been there, they would like to come up in the line in their field or something like that. You just need to go for a CISSP. So we will be seeing about the chapters in the coming slides. CISSP chapters 2021, the latest. Hello, please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Thank you. Thank you. So this is the CISSP chapters 2021. We are going to see that. 2021 means it is the latest one which are discussed on the CISSP chapters. Wherever you go for the class, please try to understand these all chapters has been discussed. Then only you will be able to clear the latest exam. Whenever you go for an exam, there will be a latest version only. The questions will be asked for that. So clearing a CISSP certification is the utmost thing. It is not only just learning the things or something. CISSP certification is required. You just need to put it in your resume with that logo of the CISSP. Then only people will be recognizing you that you are a security professional. And when you get into the class by the authorized centers, wherever whoever is conducting on the CISSP, try to make it sure that all the chapters has been covered. So chapter 1, security governance through the principle and policies. 2, personal security and risk management concepts. Business continuity planning. Laws, regulations and compliance. Protecting security of assets. Cryptography and symmetric key algorithms. Very important. This is where everyone will be having the cut short. People who are the security industry people itself are reeling on this particular like completely it'll be a problematic. PKI and cryptographic applications, principles of security models, design and capabilities, security vulnerabilities, threats and countermeasures. Every security personnel will be doing this. Security guy who is L2, L3 people will be working only on this. Whole SOC is working on this. Physical security requirements. Yeah, this we need to understand that. And these are all the 10 chapters which I discussed that. Some more are there in the next slide. 21 actually totally. So continue. Secure network architecture and components, secure communications and network attacks, managing identity and authentication, that is coming under the IAM, controlling and monitoring the access, this is access control, security assessment and testing, managing security operations, testing in the sense pen test people will be doing that, penetration testing, something like that they will do, and managing security operations, preventing and responding to the incidents. How do the incidents has been responded to that? How quickly the person has to jump into the bridge and cloud operations, like they have to discuss it with the customers or something that will be discussed here. Disaster recovery planning, this is the planning department. Investigation and ethics, what all the ethics need to be performed in each and every project. We'll have to work out with the ethics. Software development security, this comes with this SDLC cycle. Software development cycle is there. In that one, we just need to discuss about the software development security, malicious code and application attacks. So these are all the chapters which we need to understand once again. So there are 21 chapters are there in the 2021. Okay, 2021 area, in the year of 2021, there are 21 chapters are discussed in the CISSP. We need to learn all these things thoroughly by reading and there is no actually practicals involved in this CSSP. There is a bigger problem. There is no lab can be shown. There is no kind of security implementations can be shown to the people. Means it has been expected that the people are coming from that industry which are having the domain knowledge. Means if a person is working on SOC for near about 5 to 6 years or 8 years or something, in it he must be knowing about well of knowledge, very well knowledge about that, the whatever the problems he faced on it, how does he solve it. Most of the things has been already he has been experienced. Only thing what is he lacking is the theoretical knowledge of it. He can learn all these things. Security standards need to be understood, and security standard numbers will be asked in the exam. What all the security standards are there? What is the like planning to be done on that? Planning and designing and implementations, all of the plans like that. It has to be done on the paper. That need to be done on that. And cryptography, symmetric key algorithms, PK, cryptographic applications. Whoever is doing working on a VPN level, they will be knowing all these cryptographic things. And software security, beefing up that security, BitLocker activations, disk locking, like so many things which we will be discussing on this. So if you are not coming from that particular area, means you worked only on networking platform, means router and switches only you configured, in the sense you need to have some basic knowledge about the security side also. Before coming into the CSSP level, you need to go through kind of a like some kind of a firewall. When you take one firewall is enough, either FortiGate or ASA or an FTD or a checkpoint firewall. When you start doing working on these things, you will be getting the security concepts on this. So like it will be like a multiple domains will be get discussed on this. Maybe some other domains which already working on for 6-7 years will be much interesting to learn more. But things which you have not done earlier, not ever in your life itself, in the sense it will be boring. There you just need to beef up your skills by reading more things, going back to that and checking out all the internet documents and otherwise. You just need to get in touch with the people who are working on the domains, sit with them, understand things on how they are happening. Because in the classes, it's not possible for us to explain everything to you. So maybe the classes may be conducting maybe for a month or something, because 21 chapters are there. Every day maybe like 1 or 2 chapters if we go there. Every day it's not possible. 2 hours, 3 hours we need to talk about that. It's all completely theoretical one. So you'll be completely bored if you are not coming from the proper domain or something. Software development, all people will be having a very hard time in understanding things, because it goes with the implementation, regressions, and security activations on this, and the level of software when it is getting developed, the project cycle when it is goes on, those are all will be a problem for the people. Like database, when it has been talked, the people will not understand only how the database is working, what is the big data, and what is the SQL, no SQL models. Nowadays, there are so many things, Redshift and other things, data warehousing solutions, like so many things which you never heard in your life, in your office or something, will be discussed on this, because each and every nook and corner of the network and the cloud operating systems, as well as the like databases and the containers nowadays, like Kubernetes containers, Docker containers, so many containers are also coming up. So those containers also need to be protected. Security should be like implemented. Solution need to be implemented for that. So when it comes to that, everything will be discussed by one chapters. Maybe like some other chapters are completely theoretical based. They see this security governance through principle, policy, risk management concept, planning, compliance, assets. These are all maybe like completely will be going for your like a theoretical based. Physical security requirements, because you already know that you are working in a company, you've been daily entering your office, you know that how to swipe the card and other things, how the security people will be talking to you. Means the physical security people, I'm talking about the people who are in the reception or something, how do they expecting you to bring some other things. They'll be asking you to keep the bag out only when you're a visitor or something. You're not allowed to take the bag inside, and you should not be keeping any pen drive or any other kind of a disk drives or something. You should not be carrying. You should not take any camera operated mobiles in the data centers. It is not been allowed. Like these things has been discussed in the physical security. Maybe interesting for the people who would like to know about that. And architecture and component, when it comes, it will be boring. And secure communication and network attacks, identity and authentication. This is very much discussed in the cloud also, like nowadays. Controlling and monitoring access. This is nothing but identity authentication, in the sense we'll be talking about creating users and giving rights and privileges over certain directory or certain servers or certain applications like that. And it goes level of access has been given to the people. Monitoring, we are all doing the monitoring. Assessment and testing, security operations. Security operations, it's more of a theoretical based only. Responding to the incidents, disaster recovery planning, investigation and ethics, definitely it is a theoretical based. like so many things which will be mostly like this will be like for the people who are coming from the industry means they'll be enjoying certain domains they'll be getting bored of it. You will not be get bored because it is not been expected that whether you are interested or not interested or something. And like what is the achievement is that we just need to clear your exams. Yes, we need to be cleared. Then only you will be getting a job and you will be getting the dream job, and as well as you will be getting the salary hike which you are expecting from the company or something. Okay, and this is the useful links, frequently asked questions. This is about that. ISC2 org, frequently asked questions. You can click on this. Exam pricing. If you like to see each and every exam on your level, we are all in Asia Pacific. How much is the exam prices here? How much is the exam prices in US and in Africa and Europe? Like that, you can see candidate background qualifications that we can check. So let me go to this frequently asked questions. What are the questions people are asking there? We can click on this, it will go to that. So generally you'll be asking this question. This is an ISC2 homepage. You can visit this. You can register for exam or you can sign in, you can clear things. General questions. How do we become a member? How can I become a member to the IS2? What is an endorsement? What is the process? What is my ISCP ID? Like that, we will be keep on asking all our questions, general questions. Then it will be coming up like an examination part of you. Examination. What is the examination revoke policy, retake policy? There are many policies are discussed over here. How do I schedule my exam and date? If I not testing near to my location, if it is not there. Yeah, somebody speaking. Sir, good morning. I have to go for one meeting. Can you please tell me what is the duration fee for CSSP? I will give you that information. You can leave your email address in this chat itself. I'll be, like getting back to you about the exam fee and other things. Satish Kumara, Akshu Kumar, Seshu Kumar. Okay, thank you. I'll send you that information. Thank you, Seshu. Bye. We'll meet up again. Okay. And what should I do if I cannot find the test center near my location? Yeah, thanks. And how can I get my exam score? When will I get my exam result? Right? Can I bring the dictionary to the exam? Is it an open book or closed book? Like so many questions we can ask for that, you know. So this is a frequently asked settings, certification package, like, and digital badge. How do I receive the digital badge once I clear the exam? Annual maintenance fee, how much I should be paying for to keep up my certification active? How can I pay my AMF, annual maintenance, something like that? So these are all you can call that as the frequently asked questions. Sorry, once again. And exam pricing, will go for exam pricing now. What are the pricings of the exam is the exam pricing is here. CASSP exam. Let me take up this CASSP exam. This is CASSP. Like some of the tracks, and the CASSLP, CAP, and other things are there. Standard registrations. Somebody speaking again. Who's that? Please send me the troubleshooting one. I missed it, and I along with the CSSP contents to my inbox. Okay, I will do that. I will do that. Thank you. Thank you very much, Tushar. Okay, I guess Tushar only. Go or something. Okay, anyway, thank you. So the certification exam fee. What are the fees when you are giving in Americas and other regions? All other regions are not Americas and all other regions. Standard registration when you go for, it will be 749. What's happening? Thank you, sir. Okay, and this is CASSP $599, CSSSLP $599, $599, $599, $249 CSSCP, something like that. It goes on, and we will see some other exams, some other region as well. Let me clear this, then it will be a problem. Clear all the drawings. Okay, EMEA, Asia Pacific. This is what we just need to work out because we are sitting in this region. So in Asia Pacific is the CASSP is 749, and other specialization certifications are 599. $750 means it must be coming around 60,000 something. It comes, I guess, 56,000 Indian rupee. Other certifications are around $600 only. And other regions you can see EMEA, like EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and other things you can see. So this is about your examination fee, exam pricing. I given you the links, not a problem. You can just go through that. Standard registration, middle registration, pricing and taxes based on location and exam administration. learn more about exam vouchers. You can go for a voucher over here. Cancellation, refund, scheduling fees. You can look for things. Rescheduling the exam, $50 extra. And canceling the exam, $100. Better we will go and write the exam, whether you are passing or failing. No problem. Then the other one is like candidate background qualifications. What all the qualifications are required for you to appear for the ISC2 exam? It is not just like that you are going for a CCNA or any Palo Alto certification or something. They are expecting something from you. So that only these people are allowed to attend the exam. Candidate background qualifications. What are the qualifications they are talking about? Have you ever convicted felony, crime-based dishonesty, or court-martial, or military service? These are all been asked. Have you ever involved publicly identified criminal hackers or hacking? Have you ever been a professional license, certification, membership, or registration revoked? Or have you been censured or disciplined by any professional organization, government agency? Have you ever been known by another name, alias, or pseudonym? Omit user institutes or screen names which you means like you are trying to hack the things or something. If you answer yes to the above questions, it is possible you may not be eligible to earn an ISA2 certification. We do not wish to deny anyone opportunity for the certification. If you feel you may be still eligible, please contact this email address legal at something like and to discuss your particular situation and receive the clearance of eligibility for the certification. Candidates are advised to resolve any potential eligibility problems before prior to scheduling their exam, even if they find out that they may be disqualifying you. That is the problem. Candidates taking examination prior to receiving an assessment from about background queries will not be refunded for exam fees or expenses should be ineligible for the examination. When you paid it and they found it that you are not going through these things and you have been saying yes for this something, they find out that they will not give the money back. So there's a problem. There's a problem. And what are the chapters are there, which I already discussed on this. Anyway, I'll just show you this link also. What are the chapters are there? The chapters which we'll be discussing on this. Is syllabus changed recently? Yeah, definitely it has been changed. 2021. You see, that's what I was telling you. 2021. Dinesh, find out that there is a 2021. There are more chapters are added to that. That's what I was just discussing you on the slides itself. ISC 2 chapters. What all the chapters are there? You can just go through with this. All the chapters and other things. Chapter membership. How do you become a membership on this? Excel in leadership roles. Yes, sir. Okay. Earn CPE credits. Contribute expertise, speaking engagements. Participate in key events. Participate in community and outreach projects. Enjoy the discounts, products, and programs. Chapter means you will be becoming a member to this ISC Square, and you will be you can able to attend any kind of a security events which has been held by this ISC Square in your area, maybe in Bombay, Bangalore, or maybe in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia. You can attend that and you can have the badges to be displayed. You see, people are displayed their badges on this. So you can connect to that local level. 140 chapters are there. Means chapters means like they're going to discuss something about the new trend which is in the security market or something. You can just see that. No, not see that. 50 countries they are present. 32,000 members are there. Plus it is keep on growing on. If you wanted to join, you can join now here. But basic qualifications are required to join the ISC Square. At least one of the certification must have been done. Which I'm not clear about that. You can just go through this. Start an ISC2 chapter, no chapter near you. Start one today. As chapter offer portal. So many things you can see there. Interested to getting involved, volunteer opportunities, frequently asked questions. What is this? Do I have a member of in order to join? Yes, you must be a ISCP member, ISC Square member to start a chapter. However, once chartering chapter has received it's a charter and become an official chapter of ISC2. Non-ISC professionals can join. Something like that. You can check with these people, like how they've been clearing these things for you. So these are all useful links which you can use it anytime. And you can visit that isc2.org home site, homepage to get to the new chapters or new kind of the topics which has been discussed on this. And whatever I have discussed over here, it is a 2021. It is a current year is 2021. Please get trained for all the topics whichever it has been on the topic domain. We've seen that the domains as well as the chapters as well as just need to go through that. And mostly it is a theoretical only. You need to be very much patient to attend the sessions, and you should be having a patience to read and understand and practicing it. How do you practice? I don't know, because there is no lab involved in this. You need to remember all the security standards and numbers and other things. And additionally, you should be having a proper knowledge for to understand the things which has been discussed on the CASSP level. So CASSK also similar to this, but CASSKs talk about only the cloud level. But here we will be seeing most wide variety of the domains which are discussed on this. So useful links, you can go through this. And as usual, I come to my end of my end of the end of the things, basically because I was talking about for last 1.5 hours about the CASSP. You can provide your email address. I will be sending you this slides, and I will be sending you the what is the rootkit? Rootkit is nothing but one of the virus or spam, you can call it as. That is discussed in the cybersecurity side. So that is called as the rootkit. Okay, I will be sending you this recordings as well as the PPT to you people. Please give me your email address on the Zoom chat. I will be forwarding it to you. And please, subscribe to my channel, which has been listed in the back end slide. You can just see that. And please subscribe to my channel. Okay. And please introduce my channel to your friends. And every week I will be talking about the new topic on either security or network or data centers or, like data centers or so many other things which I will be talking about. All IT related things I'll be talking about. I am a technical architect working in an organization having around 15 plus years of experience in the industry. I work on network automations. I work on data centers. I work on ISP level things. Like I work on many other things as well. So I will be able to share my knowledge to you people. So please be tuned into this channel for new contents which has been displayed on every week. And I will be uploading this recording in next half an hour time to the YouTube. You can watch that. It's a free. Please, I guess some other people has given that mail address. And what about other people? Only 4 has given. Other people also can be giving it, no issues. You will not get like spammed from my email address or something. Don't worry. You will get all the details about this, about the CASSP or any other certifications also. If you would like to come up, I would like to get trained on this firewalls, routers, switches, load balancers. I work with the load balancers and cloud level certifications, either AWS and Google Cloud and Azure Cloud. All certifications I used to offer it. Yeah, okay, thank you. So I offer many level of certifications as well. So you can talk to me and anytime in this WhatsApp number, and you can WhatsApp to me, you can mail it to me, and as well as you can see my channels as well. And if you have any questions regarding the CASSP or any other topic also, you can ask me. I am ready to answer that. Or if you have things, what is the scope of cybersecurity forensics? That is also another field, but those are all not like what is say. It may be giving you a small slight openings for that particular area of interest in your forensic side. That will be giving you, but that is not the overall things which you are looking for, because security is so vast subject that contains so many chapters involved in this and contains so many domains involved in that. Better you just need to go for small certifications like this earlier, and you can come to the later like a CASSP level will be giving you the overall understanding of your entire security implementations, like a project implementations. Like, yeah, there are cloud level certifications are there are like network level certifications are there, firewall certifications are there, like that small certifications are there, security auditing certification is there, CEH is there, ethical hacking certifications. But overall, when you talk about on the top of the layer is nothing but CASSP and other things. So if you have any more questions, you can ask me, else I will be go ahead and close this meeting. Does security professional need to be familiar with the cyber security law? If you know that law, it is well and good. And according to your company standards and other things, which has been required for time to time, you just need to upgrade your skills as well. And because of that, we need to understand that when you try to switch out the company or something like that, if you already worked on a cyber security, if you worked on a security platform, in the sense they will be looking for this all, like the standards and compliances and other thing. That is what been called as law. So better you need to be familiar with it. Either you may not be having the pinpoint things within the hand or something like that, but it should be having a knowledge about that cybersecurity and laws and compliance and auditing and other things and all. Okay, if you have any other questions, please mail it to me, or you can, you can talk to me on my WhatsApp, or you can call me on this number. And thanks for all the people who joined it today. I would like to thank you all the peoples. And thanks for all. Let me put it up. Thanks all. Let's see next week with a new chapter as usual. I will be talking to you people for next week, and we will see something on new chapter as well on this one. Thanks for joining all the people. I am officially ending this meeting. Thank you very much.